So you want to be a bodybuilder? Stand on the big stage with a golden coat, flexing your big muscles and receiving applause for your tiny waistline? Well, you're in luck, because this 21-year-old decided 6 months ago, how hard could it be? That was the most naive statement of my life. Now I know. Where's the big muscles, tiny vacuumed waist, and popping veins that you need to win these shows? Don't worry, we'll get there. But I was curious, what would happen if you tried to compete with no coach, no experience, and no idea what you were doing? Could you manage to fluke it and create the most unbeatable physique? Or would I imitate another Hamish who once competed in bodybuilding? There's no harm in trying.
I gave myself just over 6 months to transform. It would be a really hard process, but there was a few things I really needed to consider. In bodybuilding, genetics play an essential role in determining whether you'll be successful or not successful.
My starting physique wasn't that bad. It had all the building foundations I might need to use in order to compete. I had a hint of muscle, and I trained regularly enough to not be seen as a twig. At 84 kilograms, 6'1", not too big, not too small, respectable lifting numbers, so I signed up to this natural competition, and hopefully I wouldn't look like a stick insect compared to the Greek gods that I might be competing against. First thing I needed to do, fix the diet. If I wanted to succeed, I was gonna have to learn what a calorie was and learn how to count them. And as someone who didn't even know the importance of macronutrient intake at the time, this was gonna be quite an interesting learning curve for me. I then decided the best way to achieve my macro and calorie goals was to religiously learn how to make the same meals and eat them every day. These meals were eggy bread, protein pancakes, tomato chickens with lentils and egg. I know, great name. Beef and egg, beef with chicken enchilada, and I'd eat them on rotation every day. Now I know what you're thinking. This sounds awfully scrumptious, delicious, and any other adjective you can think of to describe delicious foods. However, after eating and cooking the same meals every day for 6 months, I learned how to cook them to such a level that a Michelin star chef
That is disgusting.
might not spit it out on the first taste.
Disgustingly good.
Second thing I had to improve, training. I realized that the amount of muscle that I needed was lacking. And when it came to the outlandish goals I had, I'd have to start lifting, and lifting heavy. So I started focusing on a power building split, aiming to increase my strength metrics in major compound lifts, while adding supplementary exercises to give more hypertrophy in the key muscle areas which I'd need to compete. Now, I might sound like I know what I'm talking about. However, it was more of a trial and error thing. And I was just listening to different podcasts and seeing what worked for very large humans and how they got stage ready. And funnily enough, it worked for me as well. Around May and April, we started gaining real size and strength. This was the first time I thought this pipe dream might be possible. However, I needed to start introducing the bane of my existence, cardio. But by finding different activities such as rowing, surfing, bike riding, and many more, cardio slowly became more and more fun. Once my diet and training was in check, now I realized there was a few issues we had. By July, we had 12 weeks to dial it in and start to figure out the most significant aspect of bodybuilding, posing. Posing is an art that has developed over years and eras of bodybuilding. From the classic and elegant poses of the Arnold era to the freaky and terrifying mass monsters that you see in the 90s. To whatever this is, posing is an extremely important part to winning a show. And the art of posing is definitely something that eluded me. Unfortunately for me, I resembled more of an uptight robot than a flowing Greek god. But we could still fix this. We just had to practice. Every morning before breakfast, I practiced the mandatory poses. On my balcony, many uncomfortable faces were made. Many uncomfortable neighbors spectated, and my poor housemate.
Hello.
Become so desensitized to seeing a man who resembles Casper the Ghost if he was blonde and emaciated that he was more excited for the comp to be over than me. For the comp, I aim to compete in 2 categories, men's physique and classic.
And as my housemate put it, men's physique's like
When you're loading into Apex Legends and all the characters of your squad are standing there doing their emotes.
And even if the poses that I had to learn made me look like a G.I. Joe,
By 4 weeks out, one thing was certain. I'm terrified.
this has taken me a year to get to this current level, and it's been really tough mentally and physically. Right now I'm the most depleted in terms of calories and body fat that I've ever been in my life. And the fact I need to lose more, it's going to be a tough few weeks.
All this training, all this cardio, all this dedication had gotten me into the best condition of my life. I held some muscle, but I felt insane.
I really want to do as best as I can, but I'm realistic and I know that there's going to be some man mountains walking on stage with me, and they might blow me out of the water. But as long as I prove to myself and challenge myself that I can get to this level and not have any regrets, I'm going to be super happy. 28 days is a long time in the scheme of things.
By 2 weeks out, I'd started only consuming 2,250 calories each day, while still attempting to do anywhere from 1 to 2 hours of cardio. As a result, my sleep was completely wrecked. and my brain function had almost lost all ability. I was pretty much a walking zombie, with only enough energy to train and make the daily short, which had become part of my cyclical monotony life to achieve this crazy goal.
The competitor lineup came up, and it hit me pretty hard. I stupidly stalked all the people I'm competing against, and I just psyched myself out. I kind of annoyed myself actually, because the whole purpose of this whole entire competition was just to see if I enjoyed the sport. And subconsciously, as a result of prepping for over 10 weeks, I put this pressure on myself and expectation that I need to do well. And seeing the people I'm going up against just then made me think, damn, I might not be cut out for this. I might not be ready for this. I might not be big enough, strong enough. I'm probably not going to win. But I have to remind myself at the end of the day, there are no expectations. You've never done anything like this. And the fact that you're going up on stage in the first place, that's a victory in itself. It's hard to remind myself of that when you're looking at these pictures of these people thinking, far out, damn, why can't I be like them? Being very self-critical and self-detrimental. I don't have the size, I think I don't have enough definition, or I don't have enough conditioning yet. And I just don't think I'm ready. Where in reality, we're actually in the best condition that I'd ever been in my life, and the effects of body dysmorphia, low calories, and overall bad sleep had played its toll on my mental health. But we still had 1 week left. We still had a chance to turn it around and make it all worth it.
The plan for peak week was simple: deprive myself of all the nutrients and all the fun and enjoyable things that I had in my life. No carbs for 3 days, limited sodium, and try to push through the training to maintain enough size so we didn't look like complete another stick on stage. No carbs for 3.5 days was horrendous. Not only was it bland and untasty, but it never left me full, and attempting to train with no carbs or sodium became a big mental challenge.
But if I'm gonna get through this week, I need to taper back and be a little bit more considerate of my body. It's gonna go through hell this week, and if I push it too much, I might actually not make it to the show. You gotta be really considerate of your body during this time of stress. And the fact that we have put ourselves through this trials and tribulations of cutting, of training for all these months, of trying to put on weight, of trying to get shredded and emaciated, that's a victory in itself. And after eating like a sparrow for 3.5 days, we had gotten absolutely diced.
But it came at a cost. At the start of peak week, we were 78 kilos. By the Friday, when we were carving up, we were 73.5. I felt horrible. I had no energy, no motivation, and the effects of body dysmorphia had started to hit.
I don't like how my physique looks right now. It's flat, it feels small. I just did a check-in then, and I was unhappy. I feel really shredded, I feel really lean.
And I didn't think I was ready for my first comp. In reality,
we had done more than enough to get stage ready. Yes, we might look really flat here, but once we reintroduced carbs, hopefully my glycogen stores would fill up and I'd blow up like a balloon. I had pushed myself further than I thought was even possible. At the start of prep, I didn't think I would ever be this lean, and the fact we achieved this, it's amazing. All that was left to do was to get tanned, finally eat some carbs, and that was it. Stage day.
It is so bloody early. It's 4:13 in the morning, and we're heading to our second coat of tan, and I'm very excited. It's finally happening! Tanning is an interesting experience, which I recommend everyone does at least once in their life, just to see what it looks like, and yeah, to experience the mutual agreement between the two people, the tanner and the tannee, that this is strange and uncomfortable. However, we're going to do it, and we're going to have a good time.
Hamish Gray. In second place, receiving a silver medal, 44, Hamish Gray. Boys, when you hear number called, please step back for a top 5 finish in no particular order. 44. In 4th place. 44, Hamish Gray.
I'm actually more excited about coming 4th in the Open than I am 2nd in the novice thing, because that was so hard. The face I made when they called my name, I was shocked. I was just like, that must be a mistake.
So you make them.
Why'd they give it to the skinny kid?
This has been some of the most insane and strange few months of my life, striving towards a dream that most people would consider to be insane, idiotic, and unhealthy. Has been an interesting experience to say the least. But would I change anything about it? Hell no. We didn't finish on the podium, we didn't finish top 5, but it was a great lesson for me that for next time, I need to be much bigger and better at posing if I want to thrive in bodybuilding. The guys who won looked insane and knew how to contort and move their bodies with such grace and poise that it definitely gave me some motivation. But to be honest, winning was never the goal. The goal was to find out what I could achieve. How hard could I push myself to create something that I could look back on and think, wow, we actually did that. And to be honest,
I'm gonna miss it. I know it's a strange concept to say, that I'm gonna miss putting myself through strange amounts of suffering that no one should really do to themselves. And I'll remember it as some of the most fond weeks of my life, because I transformed and I found out more about myself in 6 months than I'd ever found out about myself at all. I can do things that I didn't think I could do, and that's cool to say.
To walk away with these, a 2nd place, the 4th place in the overall. I'm speechless and so happy.
bodybuilding is one of the most unhealthy, extreme, mentally draining, physically demanding sports in the world. But the satisfaction of the journey towards the competition is the true essence of what the sport is about. Pushing yourself every day, being consistent, not giving up. That's what bodybuilding is. The stage time is just the reward. But overall, what an amazing sport. On to the next.